All good?
You're good.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Overwatch 2 talk. I'm going to start just setting the pace real quick here with this picture. My name is Rakan Khamash. I'm a senior character artist on the Overwatch team. I joined Blizzard, it's going to be soon 5 years. I started with the cinematics team, where I worked on cool projects like the Overwatch 2 announcement. And then I moved to the in-game cinematics, where I worked on a bunch of stuff like Diablo and WoW and more Overwatch stuff. And almost 2 years ago, I moved to the Overwatch team, that game team, where it all started. So what is new in Overwatch 2? We have a bunch of new things I would like to talk to you guys about. And that includes, detail maps, new eye shader, new hair shader, new sun shader. And remember me saying this, new sun shader. You'll see why later. More polys, more texture budgets, and lighting improvements. You guys excited to hear about all these things? All right, that's great, because we're not going to talk about any of these things. And instead of doing that, I actually wanted to give you something that you can take home with you, apply to your own work. And if you're trying to do the Overwatch fan art or like trying to do Overwatchy stuff, hopefully I will help you out with the info that I'm about to share today. Okay, so I'm going to start with talking just about a little bit of our philosophy when we model stuff, how we do it. And then later on, I will get to just showing you stuff in ZBrush and hopefully some cool stuff. First of all, we're going to talk about the modeling pillars. We have 3 pillars we like to focus on pretty much every time we do anything, a skin, a hero, you name it. First one is bold, exciting shapes. With that, I want to give a huge shout out to my friend Bird. Paul Warzka is right here today. He keeps telling us, say it or don't. And by say it or don't, what do we mean? Basically, your characters needs to be readable from distance. If you know Overwatch, you know how you're going to be looking at your characters, and you want them to read. And they also need to be supporting like the acting of the character, because Overwatch, we like not only to show the, the characters in-game, but we like to connect them to a story, and that's where you see the in-game cinematics. The second one is amplifying intent. And when I say amplifying intent, I'm talking about stuff like, if you look at Sojourn, she's a stoic leader. Like, she's badass. Can I say badass? I think I can. Anyway, yeah, she's like, serious. And you look at Tracer, she's like all about speed, super happy. The colors reflect that. When you look at Junkrat, he's crazy. He's about like scrappy parts. His character is super crazy. He's my favorite, by the way, as you can see from here in the picture. Shout out to any, Junkrat main here. And we kind of carry these not just to the big shapes and the colors, also to the smallest details. So if you look at, let's say, again, Junkrat, the screws on his body, like to hold the armor, whatever, they're always like super random, spiky. You don't see that clean cut. When you look at somebody like Sojourn, she's like all about that high-tech, clean, so it kind of reflects. And that's going back to the amplifying intent of the character. The last one is cinematic character. Basically, our character needs to emote and carry a story, and not just be, be looking good in the first-person shooter. We want that to carry over to the story. Okay, and moving on. First stage that we like to start pretty much everything is called the Blockout stage. I'm pretty sure you've heard about it in multiple talks today, and I'm not going to be any different. It's very important. When I first joined, I was like, Blockout, it's not that important. I can just skip it, go to the high poly. I'm pretty sure everybody loves to get to the high poly, the detail, the juicy stuff. But no, you got to take your time and focus on the Blockout. With Blockout, we would like to cover 3 main points. The edge flow and shape design, the dynamic silhouettes, and the supporting animation. With edge flow and shape design, that's where we talk about when you look at the character, we want those lines to resonate. We want them to look like they're flowing on the character and not just randomly amplifying. Like if you talk about the forearm, the shape of it, the shoulder pad, we always like to be specific with it, and we want the flow to always look, whatever your eyes is resting, you kind of catch that flowy lines, the SNC curves. When we go to the dynamic silhouettes, that's where we're talking to the back of the room. So all you guys way back there. So when you look at our character in game, you want to be able to distinguish who that character is, because again, that's something very important in first-person shooters. Supporting animation, our characters, we really like them to look as realistic as possible with the animation. So we try to avoid any clipping If you see like a piece of the armor going through his head, it's cool, and sometimes, yes, but again, we don't want that, so we focus on, making the clipping minimal and solid deformations, and plays well, of course. Okay, talking shapes. If you look at this, of the Blockout, this is actually Roadhog, the Cyber Roadhog, done by Eric from Airborne. Shout out to Eric. As you can see on the left in that small box, you can see two kind of curves. The first one is a clean curve, and the bottom with a little bit of mix between, like, let's say S and C, or like a little bit of noise. The bottom two, they're too noisy, and the last one is just parallel lines. We hate parallel lines. They're just boring. They don't get, you don't get a lot out of them, so try to avoid them. And to better explain everything that I just said, if you look here, you can notice how, like, the top part of the arm is where the armor, let's say the armor parts are, and then where the high tech is going. If you look at the bottom, it's just a smooth, clean curve. Your eyes, they're resting. They're not like fighting. Where do I, find a spot that doesn't have details? It's always there. If you completely look at the other arm, there's almost no details but the wraps. Again, it's not much, but it's just enough because he got a lot going on the other arm. Looking at the legs, same thing. At the side of the leg, you can see the line clean. The left, there's a bunch of like armor pieces and cool plates. The other leg completely got the knee pad, which again, trying to balance out those details. And did I hit next? Sorry, here we go. And yeah, so now S curves and C curves. So just like I explained before, if you look at this character, if I didn't show you this, somehow you would look at it and it would still feel like it's flowing. So when I show you these lines, you'll be like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So these are the kind of lines we kind of focus on while we're designing. A quick example, if you look at his hair, if we didn't flare it out and make it maybe shorter, it would still look like, let's say, the concept, but it wouldn't give you that nice silhouette and not that nice break. If you look at all the details on the shoulders, how come, for example, we didn't make the forearm detail a little bit bigger than the shoulder? Because it's breaking that, that nice flow. So that was intentional. We kind of look for these things and we try to push them wherever we can. Same thing with the legs. Like, why you didn't make the pants straight pants? Again, avoiding parallel lines. We flare out from the top, we taper out at the bottom, gives you cooler shapes. And we keep saying more Overwatchy. You're going to hear me say that a lot. We say Overwatchy a lot. Like, make it chunky and Overwatchy. These are your best two friends. Moving on, crashing angles. This is something that I like to focus on as, it kind of helps you with avoiding parallel lines. So wherever you see a detail on your design that is just straight line, try to break it somehow. Either flare out from the top, taper it from the bottom, or flip that away. So again, most of these pieces, if you look at it, it's giving you these shapes without you noticing that it's happened. But that's why when you look at Overwatch design, you look at it, be like, it looks like Overwatch. And that consistency of design is what we look for. Okay, moving on. Bold silhouettes. If you play Overwatch, you're right. I know, like, anybody sitting here is like, I know who these two are. So this is where we focus on immediate read, secondary shapes, and tertiary shapes. With the secondary shapes, if you look at it, you will notice that it's pushing toward the intent of the character. So on the left is Widowmaker, amazing model by Reno Gallant. Shout out to Reno. You can see how she's already looking like she's badass. The design is sharp, and you're not getting confused by the design. It's right there. Doomfist on the right, you can see he's big, chunky. He got the plates. He got all the spike details on him, so you can tell the language that we're trying to push for that. And shout out to Tim Williams for that awesome model, by the way. Moving to the tertiary shapes, that's where you push toward the intent of the character. So let's say you have a character that's super high tech. So you add a big panel, and then the tertiary shapes are like, okay, what kind of panel are you talking about? Does it have emissive lines? Does it have electrical circuits? And so on. With Doomfist, same thing. What kind of detail? How can we push it even further? And if you have a skin, let's say the skin is like aqua theme or something like that, how can we add those details around that design to push toward that intent of the skin? And here you can see the final design. So again, you see how even without looking at the shapes, you get the big reads. They're clean. You're not getting confused about it. And then when you look at it all at the end, it all just makes sense. And Widowmaker, she got the spider, and that's why you can see the tats on her arm, the spider web. Again, amplifying the intent of the character. And next. Wait, is that it? Did I skip? No, oh, we're good. So now we're going to talk about supporting animation. So all of our characters, they need to support the animation that was based for that character itself. So let's say, again, Doomfist on the left. It will be cool if we can make custom animation for every skin. But again, if you're in a video game industry, you know that that's just not going to happen. So our character need to still comply to the rigging constraints. And if you look at Doomfist face and the topology, that's the same topology we use for all our other characters. You can add details, you can change it a little bit, but the main loops and the number of them, we don't change that at all. If you look at his shoulder, you see how we got those, like the strap on top with the lines. So somebody would say, okay, what if I move that strap a little bit to the left and not follow the loop? Okay, it would look different, but is it really helping you and your rigging team, and the final animation if you just move it a little bit to match these loops so they're easier to skin? Again, when we design something, we're not just thinking about design. We got to think about it's going to go to rigging teams, going to go to animation. We love these teams. We want to make them happy, and that's why we try to clean up things where we can from our side. On the right side here, you get this happy guy jumping. That's Tor Blockout done by, again, Bird. Paul Warzig is right here today. Shout out to Bird. This is the Blockout model that he did. And the first thing you see in the concept, he got that big plate right there, like you guys see it over there. So when he did the Blockout, it looked cool. It matches the concept. But while he's jumping, if you look at it, it's clipping through the leg. So he did something very smart. He's like, what if we just make it a little bit, we push it from the sides, and we don't stick 100% to the concept. It still looks the same, and you can see the final all the way on the right. But again, helping avoiding all that clipping. And if I go next, you'll see that new shape. So old shape. OK, never mind. Yep, here we go. So that's the new shape, and here's the final. Just by moving a little bit of geo here and there, you avoided all that clipping. OK, so now you finished the Blockout, you submitted, everything's good. We're going to go to my favorite stage of the whole process, is high poly. And high poly is where we're going to cover floaters, plussing the concept, and the fabric basics. So we're going to start by floaters. And this is robot Junkrat skin, by the way. That's the high poly for it. And we're going to get to that later on. So high poly, floaters. If you don't know about floaters, they're going to be your best friend, especially if you're into games. Like, trust me, I did not use floaters before. When I found out what floaters are, what they do, they're now my best friend. Floaters, what are they? They're floating geo that you add on top of your mesh. And the best thing about them is they're easy to edit, delete, change, name it. Like, whatever you want to do with it, you can, because you're not constrained with the polish of the base mesh. So this backpack, again, if you look at it on the right, you see how it looks cool with all the final details. But the final high poly base is what you see right there. And if I go next, you see how much of details was added by just floaters. So again, this will help you so much and give you a lot more time to experiment with other designs if you're not sure about what you want to do by just using floaters. Because you're not happy with one, delete it, try another one. But if you punch those details in the geo itself, it's going to take you way more time to edit that. And here, just another image to show you how much of that is actually floaters. Cool. OK, so another example of using floaters. I don't know, can you see the mouse here? You can't. So, we've seen a lot of cool presentations here today, right? And I wanted to make this one special, but by actually doing this. Have you ever seen a PowerPoint, if you click on it, something will happen? Look at that. Dude. OK, I know what somebody's saying. He probably recorded that and he timed it. Well, I can do it again. And somebody said, OK, he did that again by timing it. I can get rid of them. I could show them. PowerPoint, baby. But, but yeah, same concept, just showing you how much of this is actually floater. So the grenade on the shoulder, all these details are floaters. The head, the big rings over here, the side, and then there's one more. Did I forget what I put down? I think I did. There's one more out there, but yeah, floaters. And again, ZBrush was awesome because We use floaters while we're modeling, let's say, using whatever modeling software. But I got to a point where our cinematics team were like, you know, if you're working on something, you're not sure what kind of floater you want to use. So I grabbed all these floaters, I put them in an IMM brush, and you can see how quickly I can just drag, scale the size, experiment, and then with the scroll, I can actually you know, go through all of them. It's going to happen right now. So you can see I can just see whatever looks better on my design, and then I can commit to it. And if you're in a cinematic model, you're going to punch that in the model. So again, making it easy for you to place it, know, you know, is that the right one you want? With games, you just leave it as is, because ZBrush gives you that option to push the geo above the mesh how much you can, and that's basically what floaters are. Okay, so here I just want to show you guys a quick taking a blockout mesh, making it final high poly, just to show there's no magic. We just do the basic stuff. So I took that mesh, centered, put it in the center, got rid of the where I placed the floaters, where I think I needed the floaters to be, getting rid of extra loops that I don't need, cleaning up a little bit the loops here, and then pushing this whole section to the front, because we like to focus on the 70-30 rule, where we don't like to, again, no parallel lines, no 50-50, as much as you can push it. Adding support loops, connecting that. Cool. And we like to, with everything that we have metal, we like to add padding. So that's where I did that bevel, extruded in, and I gave it a different material to help my eye just see how much of that is it reading metal and rubber. And then continuing, here's, I'm going to show a little trick I like to do. You add 2 loops, bevel the loops, grab the faces, extract them out, push them out, extract the edge, put support loops, and your floaters is done. Because it's based on the shape, so you don't have to do any extra work. And it's going to stop right here. So there you go. Okay, continuing on. Thank you.
You can go louder than that. Come on.
Woo! Okay, plussing the concept. Again, that's something that we'd love to do, where our amazing concept team will hand over like a concept for you, but it does not stop there. We always like to plus the concept, and that gives you freedom as an artist to, you know, experiment and add to it. On the left here is a sojourn skin, and you can see with the pants, the artist just showed you, okay, we need belts here, we need where the knee pad is going to have fabrics, and then when you look at it this way in the high poly, that's where the artist actually added details, because let's say the concept doesn't need to tell you everything. From your understanding to Overwatch, you will know where to add these details, and that's what, you know, what we mentioned by plussing the concept. On the right side, you can see towards the glove. So you can see where we added metal parts on top. It got the padding, like the rubber padding. And then in the inside of the glove, we always like to change the material and the texture, because if you think about a glove, when you grab something, it needs to be a little bit of different texture so it grabs and not slip. So we try to push for that. We add more details, and then you can see here like all the added details. It looks way cooler. It still looks like the concept, but even more functional, and it's just plus. Looks way cooler again. And we say more Overwatchy. If somebody tells you more Overwatchy, do that, you'll be good. All right, high poly. We're going to talk about fabrics. Fabrics is something that we love to sculpt. On the right here is the amazing Junker Queen model by Reno Gallen. Again, he did an incredible job with this one. And what I like in this example, why I actually wanted to use it, is if you look at this, like the sleeve thing, you can see how he modeled the trim before he went to ZBrush. Because by doing that, he will get a more consistent bevel, and he won't have to worry about it in the sculpt. So with fabrics, we actually like, you know, we like it to be variety everywhere when you look. We try to avoid noise, again, going back to the same rules that we discussed before. And that's where, you know, you look at the concept, they won't add these folds for you, but you know you need to add them because this is our job. Again, plussing the concept and moving to the fabrics basics. And here you can see the amazing sculpt after. So these nice clean lines, they stayed there, but then he added more. And the way we add these folds, they're not random. We always think about them. And a great reference is J.C. Leyendecker book. That there you can see is a great reference. We actually called our Bible for folds. It's pretty awesome. And looking on the right, you can see here how these folds were treated. Again, there's a big armor piece on top, and that I think Reno was thinking, he's like, okay, it's gonna give some pressure, so he added a cool fold, and the fold on the back, that's where the joint is gonna be moving most of the time, so you cannot have like weird shaped fold because it's just not gonna deform well. And with most of our folds, we like to use the V shape, so you will see that a lot. And on top of the elbow, that cool detail, again, with the fabric, if you think about the elbow is going to deform, it's not going to have an issue because the way it was set up, it will support the animation. Going back to the first point that we discussed. This image was actually shared by Reno before, and it was shared by Shannon, who did a talk with Bird here in 2017. They showed the same image, and to show you how consistent we are, we still use the same basic, details about how we add our fabrics, where we add these folds, how they look like. But again, I didn't want it to stop there. ZBrush is awesome. I took these brushes, sculpting them on a flat plane, converted them to brushes. It's funny I said brushes, but yeah, you get what I said. So now we have the brushes on the left, and if you're experimenting, you're working on something, you're not sure how you want to treat these folds, you can use the brushes, place them quickly, it will give you, a rough idea of how it's looking. You can commit to it later. Okay, so now, are we good on time?
We are. You have 27 minutes.
Sweet. Awesome. Okay. So low poly, let's say you did your blockout good. You stick to everything. You didn't do anything crazy, and you didn't screw it up. Your low poly is basically done because that's how important the blockout is for us. The blockout is 90, I don't want to say 99, maybe 95% is your low poly. That's how far we like to push it. Now that we're done with low poly, we're going to talk about texturing. And with texturing, we're going to cover stage lighting and gradients, the brushes that we use, and grouping and weathering. And that will be right after your low poly is done, you start baking, you do the UVs, and now we're going to start texturing. So stage lighting. What is stage lighting? It's basically baking the downward lighting in the color map. We know sometimes that breaks BPR, but for us and how the engine works and Overwatch in general, that's what we like because it gives that stylized look and it makes it pop in the shadow. Again, this awesome model by Bird, you can see how it's going to pop right now. So that little bit of difference makes a lot in-game because if your character is stepping in the shadow, you will see him a lot better by just doing this trick. And you can see how we like to treat our gradients, like from top to bottom. And on the right side, that's our AO map. One thing that we like to do with our AO map is we don't like to have mid values because in our engine that kind of washes out the color. So we try to make it more contrasty like this. So we just make it more punchy and we put it in the areas where we think the contact shadow is going to happen. And we try to avoid any, the mid values basically. Okay, and moving on. Gradients. Why do we use gradients? Gradients are a great way to add details to your model without making it noisy. So let's say you model something, you forgot to add floaters, or you just, that area, you want it to be clean. Gradients are a great way to add those details without, making everything look noisy and there's no way for your eyes to rest. In the first example, that's Junker Queen elbow cover. So that skull, you can see how Ruin did a great job by putting the gradients around it. Why would he do that? Because that would give it form, not just how you would think the gradients should work, but that will give the shape form. In the middle section, if you think about Junker Queen, she's from Junkertown. Junkertown is a very dusty area, lots of dirt. So we, again, to the intent of the character, adding those little bit of gradients on the belt will actually just make it look like, oh yeah, she's from there, she's been there. And in the last example here, that's Orisa, amazing model by Lauren. Shout out to Lauren. You can see how he used the gradients just for a stylized element. Like there's not a lot of dirt, but he just showed it to show you the nice forms. And in the face, he used orange, and then he put a little bit of yellow. It's kind of helping everything just blend together, and it makes it pop even more. And you can see here how the gradients were treated. So try to avoid any flat areas. With Chrome, you can add a little bit, but don't forget Chrome is going to be reflecting a lot, so it will be busy at some point, no matter what. Okay. Custom brushes. Oh, man, that's going to take me a lot of time to explain it. We use a lot of custom brushes. So we use two of them, these two. I put the bottom 2 just because it looked weird by just having 2. So I put 4, but we don't use the bottom 2. Focus on the top 2. That's how much brushes we use. So with these guys, what we like to do is place them in specific areas. Again, just like we treat gradients, just like we treat the details, everything, that's how we treat our dirt brushes. So looking at the example here, you can see how Bird actually placed these in spot that he thought the dirt is going to collect. The metal is going to, be contacting the glove. He's going to be grabbing a lot of stuff in his workshop. That's Torb. He does a lot of that. So that's where he focused these dirt brushes to be at, and you can see like exactly where he placed them. Again, 2 brushes. We don't use more. Grouping dirt and damage. This is just basically explaining how more top-down and like think about the shoes. He's going to be walking around a lot. That's where the dirt is going to collect the most, and you slowly start to fade it toward the top. So you can see here where those that were added, and where the 2 metal plates are scratching or they would hit. It would be cool to add a little bit just to show that it's been there for a couple of days. You didn't just make that skin or the hero. Chipping. I got a great tip from Tip. Is if you grab anything, like do we have anything? Yeah, cool. If you grab it and drop it, where do you think the first spot is going to drop? So like this bottle, I would think here, maybe if you're, but yeah, you get it. Like when you drop something, where is the first contact point is going to happen on that object? So looking at these, here you can see where on the shoes, you would think these chipping would happen. And in the box, it kind of explains that. You kind of avoid the middle area because it's so hard for it, to drop flat. And that didn't have a scratch unless it's a knife. Nope, I don't want to say that, never mind. But yeah, it will break probably. But then moving on, detail maps. What is detail maps? Detail maps are a cool way in our engine to add details to areas without having to, actually paint it in the model. So let's say you have something metal and rubber. We have a lot of detail maps in the engine to cover that. So all you got to do is mask it out, like tell the engine this is where I want it, and you can see how quickly it will be added. The one thing that's not good about it is if you're on medium to high, like if you're dropping the quality, they will go away. So it will look like that in your game. If you go epic and ultra, that's where you're going to see all the cool details, let's call them. And that's why when I watch a streamer playing Overwatch and they're not showing, I'm like, come on, man, just crank it up, see the cool details, and then, go back and enjoy your FPS. Okay, so now you've done all that. Your model is ready. We send it to our amazing rigging team. They do their magic. They talk to the animators. They do their magic. And VFX comes in there, just grabs all that and gives it that flair where, let's say this character is punching. They give you that visual effect. Like, it looks awesome. Our amazing sound team does their thing. And boom, there you go. You have a full character, full skin, ready to go. Thank you. Okay, so you know how I mentioned plussing the concept? Our animators like to do the same, where they plus their animation. And these are 2 awesome skin, the robot theme for Robot Junkrat and Robot Hog. Hog is actually by Eric from Airborne, and the animation was done by Steamroll Studios. The right one is Junkrat. I was lucky enough to do that skin, and I'm going to shut up and play this so you get the idea. That's what is plussing the animation. If you equip this emote in-game for both of the characters, use it at the same time, they do this nice wave, and it continues. Again, this was only added to this skin. It wasn't before. So, and I wish I had the sound for this video, but I forgot to record it. They actually have custom sounds of metal as they do in the wave, so it's pretty cool. And going next. This awesome Widowmaker skin by Frank Turralba. I hope I got his name right. The tech artist was John Curran, and then the concept by Niskain. We talked about plussing the concept, plussing the animation, and then this is where our tech team actually and our animators they wanted to plus their models, and you'll see something very cool. They made the snakes actually do, snake movement. Again, they could have said, no, it looks fine the way it is, but again, we always like to push it forward with these kind of things, and you can see the rig, like how it looks like inside the engine. Pretty cool. Okay, so Now I'm going to talk to you guys about our newest hero, Ilari, which I got lucky enough to be the character artist for her. Before I start, I want to say shout out to Q, David King, Kai, who did the concept for the weapon, Carson, who did the weapon for her, Emily did the turret concept, Dion Roger was the art director, John Gotch, Jeff Minasmi gave me a lot of great feedback while working on her, to make sure we push her and get her to that awesome finish and look. Before I show you guys Ilari in the engine, we have something cool on our team where at the end of every month, we like to do a video. We call it milestone video. And milestone video, I hear you, Stefan. Milestone video is basically every team showing what they worked on, kind of, flexing the presentation, making it cool for the team. Builds a lot of hype. We love it. And this is the video I made for Ilari, and I got lucky enough to be able to show it to you guys here, and I'm going to play it, and I hope you guys like it. And hopefully there's sound.
All right, that was.
Shout out to Jared at the end there. All right, hope you guys liked that one. Let me exit out. Hopefully you can see ZBrush, sweet. All right, so now I'm gonna take you to ZBrush, show you how I actually, worked on Ilari and how I use ZBrush. And how are you on time?
You have about 13 minutes.
Oh, sweet, perfect. Okay, so this is, again, we talked about the blockout. You can see how I started with the blockout for Ilari. And again, a huge shout out to Melissa Kelly, Brian Bitford, Bao Vu for the amazing skins you guys show in the video, and Jonathan for the awesome weapon. Okay, so now this is like the blockout mesh, and you can see how far I push the blockout and how much details I add. Nothing too crazy. I just wanted it to read the basic shapes because I know all that's going to be modeled again later on. And here's the nude body, which got all like the base character. That is the first thing we do after the blockout is submitted and approved. So we do the nude body, we get that approved, and you can see here all like the stylized shapes we went for. Again, John Gotch, Jeffrey Nowski, shout out to these two. They really helped me out with that one. And I want to show you guys with a little bit of poly paint. Is it this one? Yeah, perfect. Oh, God, not this material, though. Maybe this one? Oh, wait, why does it not have the material on it? Is it baked?
Yeah, it looks like you have it baked.
Oh, what about if we do that? And then pick something flat, it will just look better. There we go. Okay, let's just use that. So one thing that I like to do, and I wish we had more time, I wanted to show a little bit more. While working on her, just like the Diablo guys, actually, they like to add color, makes the read way better. I did the same with her, because just looking at the concept, I quickly did a poly paint where I think the details, they're gonna go. And then the trick that I did is when I decimated this to send it to, to start modeling on top of it, I used the option in ZBrush. That's, where's decimation? Keep, where is it? These lights in my face, man, I can't see. It's the option that preserve the polyps, switch it to the decimation. So it will be baked in the decimated mesh. And the reason why I did that is when I exported that to whatever the software used to model, I can see in the topology where these lines are, and I can trace them to start modeling on top of it. So it gives me a super fast way to know where these meshes needs to be. And can we change that? Okay, no worries. I'm just going to turn this off. Okay, back to this. And then let's say blockout is good to go. And then we did the nude body. We're going to move to the hair. So the hair is always tricky with Overwatch stuff. I swear I have it saved. Here we go. And, I forgot to mention this. Ilari is the first Overwatch hero ever to have 2 hairstyles. The first hero with a custom sun shader. And the first hero in Overwatch to be fully modeled using a mouse, because I only use a mouse to model. Yeah, so I got even the same mouse that I use with me here today. And yeah, she's the first. I just wanted to point that out. And yeah, here's the first hairstyle that was sculpted for her. And then the second one, that's the ulti form. When she's in alt form, she goes into the Super Saiyan one. So you can see that, kinda. And then let's hide that. Again, I tried to put everything in one subtool just to make it easier to navigate. Probably not the smartest move. Okay, so here is the final high poly after, we sent it and everything was modeled. You can see the cloth is decimated because, that's the final that we use for the bake. But the base is clean, just like we showed with the Junker Queen. A clean base, divided, sculpt, everything done in ZBrush, by the way, for the cloth parts. I have another detail I'll show you in a bit. So you can solo that and then show you all the details. Probably make this, easier for you guys to see it this way, probably. So you can see all the details. All the floaters, like again, we talked about it. All these floaters. Don't need to make it complicated. And Bird used to say something that I really liked is, nobody will see your high poly. I mean, you guys, it's funny, now I'm showing the high poly. Nobody will see your high poly because you're gonna bake it, that's what's gonna go in the game. But yeah, that's where, whenever you can cheat stuff, do it. there's a couple of details missing here. One trick here I'd like to do is when you do the low poly, this is where your seam is going to be, right? Like on this mesh, let's say somewhere here. I then export that and extrude it out, and I add this on top of it exactly where the cut went. So when you unwrap it, you have a clean seam, and nobody will even notice it. You don't have to fight that seam, even when doing LODs. Just a quick way to get a clean, cut for it. And here is the final low poly with all the details and the 2 hairs. For the face, we use the same face. This one, the eyebrows was a little bit different. That's totally fine. But for the face topology, we have the same. And ZBrush is awesome because I want to go back actually to this one and show you. We have base meshes, right? We start with. And ZBrush is awesome because I was able to go back, grab our final low poly face mesh with its topology and bring it back here, connect it, project the details. So while working, I know exactly where my loops is going to be on top of the high poly. So when I bake, I know it's going to bake one-to-one and no weird deformation is going to happen. So that's why I added these poly groups, just so it matches exactly how our mesh, the final mesh, looks like. And now I have a better understanding of where the loops are going to be and where they're going to end. And then when I go to high poly, I know that when I bake that, it's going to be exactly where it needs to be. Because let's say you do high poly, you export it, you start doing low poly. If you move the vert by, I don't know, a little bit, when you bake, it's going to look distorted because it's not going exactly where it needs to be. And yeah, final low poly. You can see how, for characters, we have, I think the budget is 16K. Some characters got more because they have, let's say, a mech and a hero. This one is 16K with the 2 hairs. And you can see here, that hair will get swapped in the game when you alt. So that's the geo for it. How much time?
6 minutes.
Oh, God. Okay. We got it. Okay, so I just want to show you guys as much as I can. So using ZBrush in spots where you would think you would never use it, that's what I like to do. So I want to show you guys this quick animation I did after watching Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse. If you know anybody that worked on that movie, I love you, best movie ever. Oh, not that one. Actually, and then I have to flip it, right?
Yep.
I'm a pro. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I watched the movie, I cried, went home, and I said, I got to do something because it's really awesome. And I was inspired by both the AJs, of course, and the glitch effect. So I'm going to show you this video real quick. Got a cool beat. Wait for it. Okay, that's it. I won't show the whole thing, but you get an idea. We don't have time. Oh yeah, real quick, going back to ZBrush. Give me 1 second. The glitch effect was done using ZBrush, which is, somebody's gonna be like, what? No, I did actually use ZBrush for it. So here's the shoe model, which I did model in ZBrush, by the way, too. Love ZBrush. It was rendered in Redshift before the whole thing happened, so I think I knew about it because I used Redshift, so you know.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, I knew it. Okay, so that's the final model. You can see it here, it's frozen in all sub D. And then what I did is I think from just looking at it, you guys got an idea of what's gonna happen. Quick, dirty, Dynamesh. Somebody's gonna be like, what is he doing? And then very low, Dynamesh again. And then decimate that, you get these weird triangles. You grab those, bevel these out, and then you get this mesh, right? That's it. This mesh, I UV'd the faces separately and the frame separately. In whatever render engine you use, I went in Google and typed emissive image. Whatever showed up, I grabbed it, and that was what you guys see in the animation while it's happening. That's it. I don't know what image is that, but that's a random image that you found. And, you know, it gave me the glitch effect. So just hacking it. And if you want to, make it a little bit cooler, you can go and add custom pieces. So it has like the base, the logo, any other parts. And then when you combine them in the animation on and off, you get that cool glitch effect. Again, looks super dumb here, but it works, right? Okay, continuing on real quick. Please, here we go. So that was me here, 2017, sitting right there. Actually, that's me right there. Oh, I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say that I wasn't at Blizzard, and my dream was to join Blizzard and to be here one day in one of the panels. And while watching, Shannon, Thomas, and Paul be here one day, I was like, that is a dream to me to be here one day. So again, thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate it. And oh, what is this doing here? Never mind. Oh, you see his hand? That's when I told him I use a mouse. Louis was like, wait, what? And then let's take a picture of us like holding a mouse. And again, 2013, just applied to Blizzard Dream Big. I just want to share that, guys, it can happen. It's crazy. I'm here talking about Overwatch and, at the ZBrush Summit. It's pretty awesome. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on ArtStation. And yeah, this is one of my favorite quotes. Talent does not exist, only practice. If you, while reading, if it hits you, that's what I wanted, because that's what I feel it's all about. And special thanks to Blizzard Team 4. I love you guys. Pixelogic for having us here today. And yeah, that's it.
Keep it going, keep it going. All right, all right, all right. Well, we don't have a whole lot of time for questions, but I do want to say you broke the internet with your mouse sculpting.
Oh, what? Let's go.
So let's go. So let's give it up for mouse sculpting, too.
Just real quick, anybody here uses a mouse? I see what? I see at least 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Dude,
we
come
got
on.
a couple.
We started, yeah. There we go.
So you're going to want to talk to him
Yeah,
afterwards.
just, find me. I got some swag for you guys.
Very, very cool. Well, again, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
You and I were obviously dreaming a very similar dream sitting over here. So,
Yeah,
so
you
awesome.
said that yesterday.
Yeah,
I was like, yep,
absolutely.
I'm going to bring that up.
Super happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much. Awesome presentation. Don't go anywhere because we have some giveaways, and then we also have Square Enix, and we also have a small Marvelous Designer. Not too small, it's very large, actually, because they are a huge sponsor. Marvelous Designer, who has a presentation after Square Enix. So don't go anywhere, because we also have prizes. Thank you once again.
Oh, thank you.
Round of applause. Woo!